Welcome to my lab review. Here we're looking at lab 3.6.1.2, configuring AAA authentication on a Cisco router. So what I have on my screen is my packet tracer, my instruction, and off screen I have a notepad. I also made sure to print out a screenshot of the address table. It just makes it easier for me. So some basic background information. User account is admin1, password is admin1, PA55. Router 2, there's that information. Router 3, there's that information, and so forth. So, part 1, test 1, is actually pinging between the different devices. So I'm going to go ahead and hop on PC 1. And I'm going to try to ping the IP address of PCB 192.168.2.3. That fails. Oh, there it goes. So I'm going to do it one more time to make sure it actually goes through. So 1 fell, 3 go. So it's probably just doing an ARP request to get that set up. So PC A to B works. PC A to C. Fails the first time, so it's doing an ARP request, trying to find it. We'll do it one more time just to make sure. So A to B works, A to C works. Ping from PCC to PC, from PCB to PCC. I'm going to ping to PCC 192.168.3.3. And PCB to PCC also works. So step 1, check. So moving on, that is done. Configure line console to deny AAA authentication methods. So going on to step 4. We're looking at a line console 0. We want login authentication. It just doesn't like that authentication. Yeah, let's do that again. Login authentication. Not just log, but login authentication. We're going to set this to our default option. And there we go. Yeah, don't just do log, because you can log, but that's not the purpose of this. Step 4 is taken care of. Next, step 5, verify AAA authentication methods. Verify the user exec login using the local database. So let's go ahead and end our connection. Let's go ahead and enable. We actually want to terminate our session. So end kicked us out of that, kicked us back to our privileged mode. I want to back out all the way. Alright, so notice now we have to get a username prompt, which should be admin1, and the password should be admin1 PA55, and we are good to go. It doesn't say go past that, so those steps in part 1 are complete. I'm going to scroll down to part 2. Part 2, configuring a local AAA authentication for VTY. So we're going to be configuring a domain name and crypto key for use with SSH. We're going to be setting that as our domain name. And we're going to be creating a Rsa key. Again, our privileged account, we need to do that password, ENPA55. Let's just log in. Config T. Scroll back down. We're doing that. So use the CCNA.com IP. Domain name. So how we do that is IP domain name, and just I don't want to misspell it. So that's that part. Next, we need to create a RSA key. And does it say bit length? Yes, it does. 1024. Alright. Crypto. Key. You know what? I misspelled crypto. Crypto. Key. Generate. And we want to generate an RSA key. Notice the bit length. It says 512. No, we want 1024. 1024 generates the key, so we're good there. So that's done. And that's done. Step 2, configure a name list called SSH login to authenticate logins using AAA. So again, we're going to do a new AAA authentication option. With that, we want login. We want to name it SSH-login. And we're going to use the local database. With that, now we created it. Now we have to make sure to apply it. Line VTY 0 through 4. Now we need to go ahead and set up our login authentication. We're going to have it use our new created authentication login name, which is SSH login. That means it will pull the users from that database. We want to secure it so that only SSH is allowed, so input SSH, and we are good there. So we've done that. We configured the named to allow only SSH. Again, that's the transport input SSH. Now we need to verify the SSH configuration. So we're going to SSH into R1 from PCA. And close that. Go to our command terminal. We will do SSH -local -L admin1. That's our username. We will type in the IP address of router 1, as long as you don't fat finger it. The connection is open, so that allowed us in. Now we have to input the password. It should be admin1 PA55, and it does allow us in. So we've now verified that step right there. So moving on, we can now complete step 3. Notice here we're setting up server-based AAA using TACACS and R2. So R1 we set up local. R2 we're going to go ahead and set up our TACACS. Again, I'm going to scroll up. R2, this information is what we're going to use to log in. And go back to Part 3, TACAX, which is good. R2, CLI. Enable. The enable password is Cisco ENPA55. Hop to our configuration table. Again, we need to set up a username. Step 1, for backup purposes, configure a local user of admin2. So username admin2, secret admin2pa55. So once we've done that, we need to move on to step 2. Step 2 is verify the TACAX server configuration. Radius server, TACAX server. So it wants us to click on it. It wants us to click on the service tab. It wants us to make sure that AAA is there. Note the network configuration entry for R2 and a user setup entry for admin2. Client name. There's our key. There's the secret. There's the IP address. There's the port number if we're even needing it. Here is our admin2. Here's our admin password. Alright, so step 2 is done. So now we need to move on to step 3. Configure AAA TACAX server IP address and key on R2. Bring that back up. And so how do we do that? So we've never done it before. So it's going to be these two commands right here. I'm not going to copy them. I'm actually going to type them out. TACAX server host 192.168.2.2 TACAX server key. I am going to copy the key because I don't want to accidentally fat finger it, but the key should be TACACSPA55. Verify, yes. So, step 3, well, is done, because it actually does do this. Important to note, right there. Currently, Packet Tracer does not support the new command, TACAX server. Hence why we're doing that command there, just so you know. Alright, moving on. Step 4, configure AAA login authentication from console access. So again, for that, we're going to do a new model. We're going to do a new model. We're going to do a AAA authentication login default. Just like the lecture, we're going to do a group. We're going with the group TACAX plus, and as a backup, we did create a local user, so our secondary method will be local. So that portion is done, and again, if not available, first method, use the local database, second method. So we did that. Moving on to step 5. Configure AAA authentication for console access to the default AAA authentication method. Alright, so it said console line console 0. We're going to do a login authentication default option. So that's all we needed to do for that. Now let's go ahead and let's verify. We will end and we will back out completely. Notice it does prompt us. So we will create we'll try logging in with our admin2, and our password is admin2pa55, and it should work. So that right there is complete. Moving on, part 4, configuring server-based AAA using Radius. So we're going to hop on to our R3, to our CLI, get to our command terminal, again, enable, our password is Cisco ENPA55, get to our configuration, to our exec mode, we're sitting at a new configuration. Step 1, we're going to create a backup user just in case, so user admin3, secret is going to be admin3pa55. Step 1 complete. Now we need to verify the Radius server configuration. That's what it wants us to do. Click on Radius, click on Service, click on AAA. Check our username, check our ports, check our key, check the port number, make sure the service is on, it all is. Hop back on R3. So now we need to set our Radius server host and key. So Radius server host 192.168.3.2. Radius server key. I'm going to copy the key over just so I don't accidentally fat finger it. Verify they are the same. They are. Step 3 is complete. So step 4, enable AAA on R3. Configure all logins to authenticate using the AAA Radius server. And if not, fail over to the local as a backup. Like before, we're doing a new model. We're doing AAA authentication, login, default. I don't like that. I turn my caps lock on. Default. We're going to do our first option is going to be group Radius, and our second method will be local. So step 4 is complete. Now we need to actually configure it to a line option. Here we're doing line console 0. We're doing our login, authentication. We're going to the default options that we just set, so defaults. And we are done. Let's verify. It should be admin3, and the password is admin3pa55. Let's give it a second, see if that works. It did work, it just took a little bit longer than I was expecting. Alright, so step 6 is done. Let's go ahead and let's verify. Verified. It does say complete. Assessment items. We're looking for all green check marks. Score 23 out of 23. We did all components. Everything is good. If you got any questions or concerns, reach out, let me know. And we'll go from there. Thank you. Have a good night.